Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you are consuming content like this. The name of this lovely channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing to live. What I'm discussing in this video is why it's so important to slow your pace besides the idea of rest. And I even have to think about that when I'm doing these videos because sometimes I get an idea in my head and then I have this little checklist in my head. And because I don't want to lose any of the thoughts, I find myself rushing through what I need to say just so I can not lose the thought that I know that's coming next. And I was thinking about pacing, and I was really thinking about what are the true benefits of slowing the pace? And that's besides rest, because we already know rest is going to be something that's going to be good for our mind, body, and spirit, hands down. It's very nurturing, especially in a very highly technological, chaotic world, that we can live in sometimes, depending on where you reside. But if you're getting out into this world, it's like jumping into jump rope. You jump in and everything's already moving, And so you got to just keep that in mind, that it's not just your energy that's being thrusted upon you all the time. It's the energy of the world that's happening. So because of that, you setting your own pace is so important. And rest is one thing, yes. But another thing that I've noticed with pace is that when you slow down, like from making decisions or from moving forward with a thing that you want to do that's important to you, that you're maybe on a fence about, when you slow down in that process, you are giving yourself a moment to be sure that that is what you want to do. You're giving yourself a moment to check in and say, hey, this is what's important to me, rather than letting things around you drive you forward, or people around you, or their ideas. I was thinking back to when somebody I dated a while ago, and I want to sneeze, but I don't think it's going to come, and I'm good with that. But it's lingering. And they wanted me to, us to move in very quickly and stuff like that. And I was feeling like there should be more time. But they kept talking about it and making it more of an emergent thing, and that it made more sense financially and all these little reasons tacked on with it. But in my mind, I was like, all of that makes no difference to me. I still feel like it's faster than the pace that I want to move, right? And in that process, I learned a few things about myself. One of them was that if somebody comes with a good enough argument at that time in my life, I was able to break down my boundaries and move at a pace that wasn't mine. And what happened in that process was that I realized once it all got settled and I did move forward beyond the pace that I wanted to move, it was always a reluctancy to move any further. Like it permanently, it permanently weighed on the relationship because I already felt like I was doing too much. And if I would have had that time, or given myself that time, because nobody's going to give you that time but you, to slow down my pace and decide, is this something I really want to do? Then I would have went into the connection and into the living situation with a more relaxed mindset and feeling like this is something that I'm choosing and this is something that I'm excited about. But it was just a lot of hesitation and resistance because I was being dragged along as opposed to me stepping forward and being okay with what was happening next. So your pace gives you a moment to make sure that you're moving forward for all the right reasons. Make sure that you're saying yes for all the right reasons. Make sure that you're quitting a job for all the right reasons. Make sure that you're taking the job for all the right reasons. Whenever I'm around something or a place or an environment that's trying to make me rush, make a decision, that's just as good as going. Like, I'm not even remotely interested in feeling pressure to do anything. I had to go get a car a couple of years ago, maybe, but I wound up not getting another one because the car I had, the truck I had, it was fine, but it was giving me certain issues, so I was checking out other things. And I remember going to the car dealership, which is an excellent place to test yourself in this kind of mindset. And the guy was coming to me and he was just like, we can do this, we can do that. This car, and he was trying to tell me that the vehicle was going to go somewhere. Although I'd seen it sitting there for a couple of months, right? And he was like, this vehicle is going to be going fast or whatever. And then I saw him go talk to his manager and come back because I was like, okay, I test drove it. I'm going to go think about it. He was like, no, wait here. And I was like, oh, Lord. So he would go talk to his manager or whatever. And then he came back. And as he was walking up to me, I could see his face was like, how do I approach her? And I was like, excuse me. I was like, sir, I cannot be sold. I had already by that time managed how to stay in my own pace and how to slow down and honor how I'm feeling in any given moment. And when he came back to me, I was like, I can't be sold. I was like, what I'm going to do is think about it and I'll let you know. I test drove it. It's a beautiful vehicle. And if I'm interested in it, I'll come back and you'll be the first person that I talk to. And he was like, okay. And like, I respect that. It's like he wanted to do more, but it wasn't any more to do. And I was appreciative of that, although I could have walked out and left, but I just was, honoring the process of, the sales pitch and stuff. But what I realized in that moment is that I truly learned a lot from letting myself being dragged forward in so many situations. And I've had this happen with like jobs, and they're like, you need to make a decision whether or not you're going to take the job in the next couple of days or whatever. And earlier this year, and I was like, you know what? I'm not exactly sure if that's a place I want to be at. And with them trying to push me past the pace that I want to move, and this has only been a day. It's only been a day. I need more time to decide, and I'm okay with that, right? And then another thing is pay attention to the way that people react when you are going at your own pace, because that'll tell you a lot about the people that you're surrounded by and whether or not they truly care about your wholeness and whether or not they truly care about your process and they're honoring your process, because that's super important. We can overlook these things, and even if it's relationships, I'm telling you, it's a red flag. It's a red flag because I've gone into relationships where somebody didn't honor my pace in any kind of way. I used to complain all the time and say, I feel like I'm being dragged forward with everything. I'm being dragged on vacations. I'm being dragged. It's like I was always having to prepare for something and get ready. And it was always, even on vacations and doing things, this person was walking 10 miles ahead of me. And I was always feeling like, okay, let me catch up. It's a red flag in a sense that people that don't know how to honor other people's pace are truly not invested in your wholeness, and they're not invested in your well-being. Because if they were invested in your well-being, they would understand the importance of you being okay with something that's a big decision that needs to be made. You feeling relaxed and you feeling as joyful about it or excited about it as they are. And that's super important. They should be happy that you're tapped into that version of who you are. Because when someone's tapped into that version of who they are, then you know that they're making decisions based on that they want to do this thing, that they're sold on this thing, and that I didn't have to sell them on it. They are tapped into what they truly desire to do. And that's when you want to connect with people. You don't want to drag people around, and you don't want to be dragged around, right? And then remember that rushing and pushing other people into things from that other end of the perspective, from the person that's doing that and not honoring your pace. Rushing or pushing people into things is a sign of a very scarcity mindset. It's scarcity for time, it's scarcity for energy. And a lot of times it's because they see something that you have or something that's inside of you that they don't necessarily know how to bring out in themselves. And they will try to extract that from you really quickly. And love bombing is a lot when this sort of thing happens too. But they'll try to extract it out of you quickly because of the scarcity mindset. And it's draining when someone approaches you like that and they're just like, oh my, you're amazing. Have you ever had that happen? I know I have. I've had it happen in the workplace. I was just talking about this the other day in another video, but this is another perspective of the same thing. Very nice person in the workplace though, but I realized that they were attempting to latch on to me. It's like, we can work on this together. I'll work with you with this thing we can do. And I'm like, wait, I don't know what I want to do yet. I don't know who I want to work with yet. I don't know what projects are important to me yet. I'm still filling this thing out. And it gives me time to not like hook into somebody immediately. It's like when say you're the new girl in school and you go to this school And, everybody knows if you brought up in a small town or something, you're a new girl in school, all the guys are going to think you're so cute and you're so amazing just because you're the new girl, right? But you come in and then like the guy that you meet and it's like helping you with your locker and telling you where the buildings are the first week you get there, he's trying to latch into you and he's asking you to be his girlfriend in a week or in a week and a half. And what he's trying to do is like latch on to you and grab whatever you have before anybody else has access to it, because he doesn't believe that if he leaves you to your own devices in your own pace and you truly get to know him, that you're going to choose him at the end of the day. And if he doesn't think that you're going to choose him, that means that there's a scarcity that he's operating from. He doesn't believe that he has something. There's something that he thinks he's missing that's not good enough or not valuable enough. And instead of looking into that, his idea is, let me just grab her in before she starts thinking too much, or before too many people talk to her, or before she has access to too many people. And that's the same thing. So when people are not honoring your pace, it's much bigger than they're just, they're just impatient, or they're tired of waiting for you, or whatever. It's a lot deeper than that. That means there are things that are inside of them that are not allowing them to honor someone else's process, right? And then I noticed too, like if you disregard your pace in life, you disregard how you operate and like what makes most sense for you, you're always going to be in that deficit. You're always going to be operating that way. There are people that wanted me to make decisions so many times in my life of so many things, especially in the workplace, especially in relationships is what I can think about the most, trying to get me to make a decision or to do something really quickly. And I'm like, no, in the times that I've said yes, I was always expected to say yes. I was always expected to disregard my internal compass and do what the environment needed me to do. And even to this day, I shut it down. I don't play games when it comes to what I don't want to do, what doesn't work for me, what's not in my wheelhouse, and what's not going to be something that I want to be connected to. Like, I'm really good at it these days, right? But when I was not, and I would say yes to things, and I would jump into things, and I would go do things and commit myself to something, I was always being dragged along. I was always expected to disregard my internal compass and just do what other people needed me to do. Show up, just show up because other people need you to show up. Or just say yes that you'll do this project because other people need you to do it. Just say yes that you'll take this job because we're at a deficit. It's just like, what about what's going on in my life? And you got to remember that those things are important. So moving slow and having that slow moving life is wonderful. Rest is amazing. But what it does to you, it also opens you up to what is your pace. Because I think a lot of us don't even know what our pace is because we've been on other people's timetable for so long. Because think about it. You grow up, you go to school, you get education, most people do, and you're on this time clock. You get up at 7 in the morning, you got to be at the school for 8 something, whatever. You have to lunch at a certain time, a class at a certain time. It's 10:40, pull out your math books. And so you never really know what your pace is unless you were a kid that kind of was really tapped into yourself and you always felt discombobulated in those environments, which I did. I was always feeling like, what are they talking about now? What do we got to do now? I noticed it with my youngest daughter. It's like she does a really good job of keeping up with the pace of the world around her. But if it were up to her in a lot of areas, she'd be moving a lot slower and honestly probably getting a lot more things done, right? But I'm very proud of the way that she's latched onto that, because I'm telling you, when you have a certain pace and you don't really know what it is, everybody else is going to come and try to take some of that time and energy. And that's just the truth of it. And then you go get jobs and they say, be here at this time and leave at that time. Or you need to go to college. It makes more sense to go right after school. It's like you're always moving at the pace of the world around you. And then when you have the kids or something, or you say you don't have the kids and you're doing the career or whatever it is, you're moving at the pace of what other people need besides what you need. So when we do that rest, that's one of the biggest things we need to tap into is, what is my actual pace? Now that I've slowed down, now that I understand what's truly important to me, now that I'm being tapped into more of my purpose, why am I here, the very essence of who I am, I'm shedding all the things that don't work for me and collecting all the things that do, right? And when you get to that place, your pace is a huge aspect of it, because when you are in your pace, you are flowing. You are flowing. You're in a manifestation flow, definitely, but you are flowing through life. You're not always going against the current. You're not always fighting against what other people need from you and want from you all the time. And then you can kind of figure that out, because if you've been living in this world, you probably don't even know what that pace is, because you've always been pushed to do this next, pushed to do that next. Get up in the morning. This needs to be clean. That need to be clean. I think one of my favorite things of having my first apartment when I was younger, me and my daughter was just talking about this, the older one, and she was saying, like, it's probably very exciting to have your first apartment at home. And I was like, yeah, it was. One of the biggest things was realizing that nobody was telling me when things had to be done. And I'm telling you, that's amazing. And the work I do now, nobody tells me when things have to be done. It's like I was putting together a workshop, a training session for, a different technology. And I was sitting there and I talked about it last week. And then today, all of a sudden, I just got the spirit and I was like, let me make that announcement. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe it's not a workshop. Maybe it's a one-on-one session and you sign up, because it's a little more detailed. It's different for everybody. And workshops tend to not be granular enough. They're too vague, and they're too much of an overarching umbrella. And the person I was giving it to was like, that's a way better idea. That's amazing. Imagine if they told me last week, we need to have a concept today. We need to have the workshop today, whatever. They would have got something, but it wouldn't have been the amazing idea that popped in my head when I went and sat down at like 8:30, and it was like, and I just started typing away, and I was like, what do you think of this? When you get into that flow, you even start attracting opportunities that honor your pace. And that's super important. And I was saying about the first apartment, that was one of my favorite things, was that I could wash these dishes when I feel like it. You don't want, creatures crawling around, but I was like, I can vacuum this floor when I feel like it. I can make this bed if I want to, or I don't have to. Like, that was a huge thing for me. And what I realized is that I had a different pace than what I had grown up with when it came to taking care of things. And it wasn't like I was junky, because I'm very neat. It's just that I had a different order of doing things, right? And so, as usual, I can go on about that forever. Honor your pace. Resting is a lot more than just, the rest. The rest is amazing. But then you get to see, what is my flow in life, right? How do I operate? Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.